Hello everyone, this is Lisa with Old Orchid Yarnery, and this is our next session of our Building with Lace class. Let's see, I believe it is going to be section 7. So far, this was last month's, this beautiful stitch here, and now this month is this beautiful circle type lace motif. It was a lot of fun to do. I enjoyed it. So let me show you how to make it happen. I have done one repeat. It's a 16 row repeat, and you're going to do it 3 times. I've done one so far, so I'm ready to film this tutorial to show you how to do each of the stitches. There's a few different things, few things to watch out for that I want to make sure to tell you about as we go along. So what I did in mine, because the repeats across the row are a bit longer this time, you've got 25 stitches in between. So what I did on your setup row is just knit and purl. You're not doing any kind of an increase or decrease on your setup row. But when I was purling back, I put my markers in. So I've got my first 5 and my last 5 that is maintaining our garter stitch border. And then after the first 5 on your right side row, you've got a section of 10 stitches. And then you've got 25, 25, 25, and 25. And then here's the last 5. So it's a total of 110 in between your edge markers. Total of 120 altogether, but 110 pattern stitches in the middle. So row 1, we are going to, as always, we are going to slip the first stitch with the yarn in front. This should be very familiar to you by now. And then we're going to knit 4, and we'll get to that edge marker. Slip the marker, and row 1 says to knit 3. Now I happen to be following the words this time, not the chart. I've been going back and forth doing different things, but this time I'm following the words. So knit 3, and then you see something in parentheses, a yarn over SSK in parentheses, and it says twice. So that means you're going to yarn over and slip, slip, knit. I will demonstrate English style in just a little bit. Now that was once, we're going to do it twice. Yarn over, slip, slip, knit. And now knit 3, and that should be, you notice there's an asterisk after that knit 3, because that brings me to my first repeat right here. So I slipped that marker, and now we're going to start the repeat. So we start with a knit 6, and then they want us to do something called a cluster 3. So I will show you what that looks like. 5 and 6. So we are going to slip the stitches. Let me move my paper here so I can see what I'm doing. All right, so we're going to leave our yarn in the back, and we're going to slip the 3 stitches with the yarn in back right here. Just slip them over to the right needle. Then you're going to bring the yarn forward between the needles and put those stitches back over there. And now we're going to take the yarn back between the needles again, and we're going to knit 3. So if you notice, it makes it look like one of those smocking stitches that we've done before. But all we've done is bring, with the yarn in back, move the 3 stitches over, bring the yarn forward, move the 3 stitches back, and now I just took the yarn back again in between the needle tips to get ready to knit, because now I'm going to knit these 3. So that is a cluster 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to knit 9. And 9. Now we're going to yarn over SSK twice. Again, that's in parentheses. Oops, I didn't get that one knit properly. There we go. So now we're going to yarn over and SSK, slip as if to knit, slip as if to knit, and then knit them. That was once. We're going to do twice. Yarn over, slip, slip, knit, and knit 3. And if I've done it right, that should bring me to my next marker, which it does. Hooray! Don't you love that when you get to the end and it's right? It feels good. Okay, now I'm gonna slip the marker. Now, before I do this next repeat, I wanna talk about a couple of things. I know you've all learned quite a bit about lifelines during this course, and I wanna encourage you to use lifelines liberally as you need to. So however far, you don't even have to wait the whole 16 rows of the repeat to put in a lifeline. You put in a lifeline whenever you feel like everything below that is correct and you know it's good. So put the lifeline in, and then you don't have to worry about it. The other thing I want to mention is at the page, oh, what page number is this? There's no number on it. Just a moment, let me switch. On page 36, where the written instructions are for this section, there's a tip. And it says, due to the vast number of increases and decreases in the section, carefully count the number of stitches at the conclusion of each repeat to avoid errors. I want to encourage you to do that because there's a couple places you can really run into trouble. I'll be pointing those out to you as we go through this, but please take note of that tip and be sure to count your stitches often. The other thing I wanted to say is with only 4 repeats going across, because it's such a large repeat of 25 stitches, it feels like it goes pretty fast because you're not repeating 10, 11 times a smaller motif. It's a larger motif only being repeated 4 times. All right, so we got to the asterisk and it says repeat from the asterisk to the end. So I'm going to go back to the asterisk again, which tells me to knit 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now cluster 3. Here's that cluster 3 again. Let me do that English style just so you can see the yarn being maneuvered from the other way. So I've still got the yarn in the back. I'm not moving it. I just finished knitting. The yarn's in the back. It's staying there. I'm going to move 3 stitches. You can move them one at a time like this, or you can move them all 3 at once. 3 stitches over. Bring the yarn forward between the needle tips. Put those 3 stitches back. Notice I'm bringing it between the needle tips. I don't want to bring it forward like this. I don't want to create a yarn over. I just want to bring it in between the needle tips. Now I'm going to move those 3 stitches back to my left needle. Again, one at a time or all 3, it doesn't matter. And now I'm going to take that yarn back between the needle tips again to the back so that I can knit these 3 stitches that I've just moved. So let's go ahead and knit those. 1, 2, and 3, and that's the cluster 3. Get back on there. And now we're going to knit 9. I found that cluster 3, when you knit it, it feels like they're a little tight, but that's because we've got that collar of yarn kind of wrapped around them. So don't worry about it. Just do what you need to move them away from the tip. Maybe consciously knit them a little looser if you can, but in any case, don't worry about it if it feels a little tight. All right, now I've lost count. So let me look back here and find here's my cluster 3. Let's go back to the beginning. So we are going to knit 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my cluster 3, those 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have to knit 3 more because I'm knitting 9. That's what I get for trying to count and talk at the same time. 7, 8, and 9. All right, now we're going to do yarn over SSK twice. So yarn over, slip, slip, and knit those together. And we'll do yarn over, SSK again for the second time. Get in there. And knit 3. And again, here I am, 3 at my marker. Yay! I know, it's silly, but sometimes it's just the little things that make you happy, right? The count was right when I got to my marker. I consider that a win. All right, I moved my marker. We're going to do a repeat again. Knit 6, 2, get a little more yarn out here, out of the ball. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to do cluster 3. So I'm leaving the yarn in the back, moving 3 stitches over from the left needle to the right needle, bringing the yarn in between the needle tips to the front, and now moving those 3 stitches back to my left needle, and now moving that yarn in between the needle tips to the back and knitting those 3 stitches that I just moved. There they are, all bunched together with that yarn wrapped around them. Right there, so I'm going to knit them. 1, 2, and 3. That's the cluster 3 stitch. Now we're going to knit 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yarn over SSK twice, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, and then knit 3. All right, I only have one more repeat to go here, but just a moment, let me get to there so I'm not losing count again. And 3. My marker, I'm going to move it, and I've got one more repeat to do here on the row. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the next row. Okay, I'm right at the end of that row 1. I've just finished my last repeat, and I've got my marker here. So remember, the last 5 stitches we just knit. Maintains that nice garter edge that we've got going down the side. So I'm just going to knit those 5. Now row 2 and all wrong side rows are simply purl all the way across. But this is where you're going to really have an opportunity to count. Because if you've got a problem on row 1, I mean, you can go back and count each section before you start each 25 stitch repeat on row 1. That's not a bad idea. I tend to overcount when it comes to a little bit more of a complex stitch pattern. So I usually have been counting these on the wrong side as well, just to make sure. So I'm going to knit my first, slip 1, knit 4, slip my marker, and then I'm going to purl these 25 stitches. So I'm just going to 6, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 5. All right, I know my first section is good. You can count all the way across if you want. I usually just count each section. Because if there's something wrong with that section, now is the easiest time to go back and fix it because you're not very far past. All right, so we're gonna slip 1 with the yarn in front, knit 4, slip the marker, and now we're just gonna purl all the way to the end. The last 5 stitches will knit, of course, and that is row 2, and all wrong side rows are going to be the exact same. The pattern is all happening on the right side. Wrong side is just purling. So go ahead and do that, and then when we come back, we'll do row 3, which has a central double increase, which may be a new stitch to you. Be back in a bit. All right, so as you're purling back, I wanted to be sure to show you how you need to be sure to purl each stitch in that cluster of 3. So I'm turning this over to the right side so you can see here is my cluster of 3. I can tell because it's got that little wrap around it, and there's the 3 stitches. So when you get to them, you're going to want to be sure to purl each one of them individually. It might seem like they're kind of stuck together, and don't be thrown off. You remember you had a couple of yarn overs on row 1 as well. So we're just going to purl the yarn overs, we're going to purl each stitch, and remember we've got 25 in between each marker all the way across. Groups of 25 stitches. I'll meet you back at the end and we will start row 3. Okay, here we are ready to start row 3. So at the very beginning, as always, slip 1 with the yarn in front, knit 4, and now we're going to knit those first 10 stitches as indicated either on your chart or in your written instructions. So row 3 says knit 4. We're going to knit 4, then we're going to yarn over an SSK, yarn over, SSK, and knit 4, and then the asterisk. So I get to the end of that knit 4 and the asterisk, and I move my stitch marker, and now I'm starting my 25 stitch repeat across the row. So the asterisk, it says knit 4, knit 3 together. So let's knit 4. We'll just take it one little step at a time. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to knit 3 together, which can feel a little tricky, but you're just going to go in and grab those 3. You want to make sure your needle is up next to the needle, so you're grabbing all of the yarn and not leaving any split pieces behind. Knit 3 together. Now we're going to yarn over. Now we're going to do the central double increase. So I'm going to try to show you this. I'm hoping you can see it. So the instructions are at the top of the page on how to do the central double increase. What we're going to do is we want to knit 1 through the back loop and knit 1 in this same stitch. So I'm going to go into the back loop of that stitch, and I'm going to knit through the back loop. I'm not going to pull it off, and I'm going to come around and I'm going to knit 1. So now I've turned that 1 stitch into 2. Kind of similar to a knit front back, but you're doing it knit back front, I suppose, right? But that's only part of it. Now what I want to do is I want to take this little strand of yarn right here, and I want to knit through the back loop of that. And that turns the 1 stitch into 3. So there's my central double increase right there, my 3 stitches. I will show you that again, don't worry. So yarn over, and now this is a knit 3 together through the back loop. This one's a little tricky, I think. I kind of struggled with it, because what you want to do is get similar to the knit 3 together, where we wanted keep our needle next to the needle so we're not splitting the yarn. We're doing the same thing here, but we're going through the back loop, which is a little harder to do. There we go. So I've got my needle inserted into the back of the 3 stitches, and now I'm going to knit them together through the back loop. Just take it slow and steady. I didn't quite get that, so I'm going to back it up. Okay, so there is still my central double increase, and then there's a yarn over that fell off when I was just coming back, and now knit 3 together through the back loop. So let's try that once again. Just take it slow and steady. If it seems like you're fighting with it, just slow it down. We're going to knit 3 together through the back loop. Be sure to pull that through. There we go. There. Knit 3 together through the back loop, and then knit 8. Remember, there's only 4 of these repeats across, so I only have to do 4 of those, which is kind of nice. Okay, knit 8, and now I'm going to yarn over, SSK, and knit 4. And that is the end of the repeat, and that is where my marker is, so that's good. All right, let me show you English style. We'll do the next repeat English style. So it starts out, remember, go back to the asterisk. So it's going to start out with a knit 4 and a knit 3 together. So there's knit 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now knit 3 together. So go into those 3, knit them together. Now we're going to yarn over and do the central double increase. So yarn over. Remember, central double increase is we're knitting into the back loop of the stitch, not taking it off, and then swinging around and knitting into the front loop, kind of like the opposite of a knit front back. It's more of a knit back front. And now let me show you. Here's that strand in between the 2 of them that we're going to pull up, and we're going to knit into the back loop of that to make the 3rd stitch. And there we go. There's our central double increase. 3 stitches out of 1. All right, then we're going to yarn over, Then we're going to knit 3 together through the back loop. The reason we're doing knit 3 together on one side of that increase and knit 3 together through the back loop on the other side of that increase is because of the angle. It's going to angle that decrease in the right direction to make our circle. I think I decided this knit 3 together through the back loop is my least favorite of the stitches, but it really does get easier as you do it. I'm just making it look very difficult at the moment. There's 2, 1, 2. All right, I need to get that third one. Can I get it? And 3. Nope, only have 2. So there's my 3, but I'm in front. I need to get to the back. So slide that around the bottom of the needle. Push it down a little bit. Okay, so I have 3 on there. And we will knit them through the back loop. There we go. Okay, knit 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Yarn over, SSK, knit 4. Yarn over, SSK, knit 4, and I'm at my marker, so all's good. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So go ahead and complete that repeat again 2 more times, right here, and then you'll knit your last 5. And then you're going to purl back row 4, and then we're going to do row 5, which also has that central double increase again. We'll come back and do that next. Okay, we're on row 5 now. I've already done the first 5 stitches, slip 1, knit 4. Row 5 has many of the same stitches that you've already just done on row 3, but let's go ahead and do them again together. So we're going to start out with those 10 stitches. Remember this little section here. So we're going to knit 3, and then we're going to yarn over SSK twice. Yarn over SSK again, second time. And then we're going to knit 3, and then we're going to move our marker because that's going to be the asterisk in the beginning of our repeat. Move the marker, and now we start our 25 stitch repeat. Again, row 5 is the same stitches really that we've seen already, but let's practice them. So we've got knit 2, and then knit 3 together, just like this, and a yarn over, knit 2 together, and a yarn over, and that central double increase again. So if you remember, it's knitting in the back, swinging around, knitting into the front, then taking that off, and then finding this angled stitch right there that comes up between the 2 of them, and knitting into the back of that. There is our central double increase. We're going to yarn over SSK, and a yarn over, and now our favorite, knit 3 together through the back loop, and knit 5, and yarn over SSK twice, and then finally knit 3. And we've got 3 left to our marker. That's a good sign. I'll take it. Okay, let's do that repeat English style. We came to our marker, so we slipped it. Means we're going to start over at the beginning of the asterisk again. So we're going to knit 2. Knit 3 together. And then yarn over and knit 2 together. There's the yarn over, knit 2 together. And now yarn over and a central double increase again. So we'll knit into the back loop of this stitch. Swing around, go into the front. Yarn over SSK. And yarn over, knit 3 together through the back loop. Yarn over SSK twice. Yarn over SSK. And knit 3, and that's the end. All right, so go ahead and finish up row 5, and then 6 will just be purling all the way back across. And I will meet you back here at row 7, because then we're going to have, actually, let me see, I'm looking at it here. So row 7 has the same stitches again, no central double increase there. Row 9 is going to have a new stitch, so go ahead and keep following your directions to finish row 5, 6, 7, and 8, and meet me back here for row 9. Okay, here we are back again at row 9. So row 9 has a new stitch on it that actually I don't think, at least not in this particular chapter, it doesn't give the description of how to do it. It was in a previous lace pattern, I believe. But we're going to start out with the slip one with yarn in front, knit 5, well, knit 4 to the marker. And now row 9 starts with knit 3, yarn over SSK twice, all very familiar stitches to you by this point because we've used them a lot in this section. Yarn over SSK, and then knit 3, and then we're at our asterisks. All right, so it starts our repeat. We're going to knit 2, and then yarn over and knit 2 together twice. Now remember on your purl rows especially to count your sections of stitches before you start. When I was just working on row 8, I came across a section that only had 24 stitches in it. And so when I turned around and looked back, I saw that I had missed a yarn over. Makes it really easy to fix at that point. All I had to do is pick that yarn over up and then go ahead and purl it. Okay, so yarn over, knit 2 together twice, and now yarn over, and now it's calling for an SK2P. So what we're going to do now is we are going to slip 1, we're going to knit 2 together, and then we're going to pass that slip stitch over to do the decrease. Okay, we'll do it again. Now we're going to yarn over SSK twice. Or we get the chance to do that 4 times all the way across on our 25 stitch repeat. Yarn over SSK. And yarn over and knit 5. All right, and then we're going to yarn over and SSK twice again. Get some more yarn over SSK 2 times, yarn over SSK, and then knit 3, and repeat that across the row. Move the marker. Now let's do it English style. Rearrange my yarn here. All right, so we are going to start again at the asterisk, and we're going to knit 2, and now yarn over, knit 2 together twice. So yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, and then yarn over, and then we're going to do that SK2P again. So yarn over, we're going to slip 1, knit 2 together. Now when I knit these 2 together, that's what makes that yarn over, remember? So slip 1, knit 2 together. And now I want to pass that stitch that we slipped over and off. So that's the SK2P. And that reduces 3 stitches down to 1. All right, then yarn over SSK twice, because we're on the other side of the middle now, so we have to do the decrease leaning the other direction. One side it's knit 2 togethers, one side it's SSKs. Okay, and then a yarn over and SSK again. And a yarn over and knit 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn over SSK twice again. Yarn over SSK. And then knit 3. And that's the end of our repeat. All right, so you're going to repeat that again all the way to the end. I've got 2 more repeats of my 25 stitches each, and then my knit 5 at the very end. So that is row 9. Row 11 doesn't have anything new in it. It's going to be some of those same familiar things you've been looking at, as does row 13 has a new one. So let's go ahead and work row 9, 10, 11, and 12 as per your pattern. And when we come back here, we'll do work row 13, and I'll show you the work 5 together stitch. See you back here in a minute. Okay, so now we're on to row 13. So just like before, we're going to start with our slip 1 with the yarn in front, knit 4 to get to the marker. Row 13 has mostly familiar stitches in it that you've seen, but it does have one extra one called a work 5 together that I want to show you. All right, so row 13 starts with knit 3, yarn over SSK twice, yarn over SSK, and then a knit 3, and then we'll be at our asterisks where we can start our repeat. This repeat is over the 25 stitches between markers. So we'll do it 4 times all the way across the project. So the repeat starts with knit 2, knit front back. And there again, just to remind you, you knit into the front of the stitch. Don't take the stitch off the left needle. Pivot your needle tip around and go into the back of the stitch like that. Knit into the back and then remove it. So you've now created 2 stitches from the one. So knit front back, yarn over SSK, yarn over, and now that work 5 together. Now it's explained up at the top of the page under special abbreviations how to do it, but what you're going to do, I'll show you, is you're going to do an SSK. Remember, we've done a yarn over first, so don't lose that as you start to do your special stitch. I usually hold my index finger on it to keep track of it. So we'll do an SSK, and then we're going to do a knit 3 together. So just go into all 3 of the next stitches. Be sure not to split the yarn. You'll want to be sure to catch them all. Knit 3 together, and now you're going to pass that SSK off. So here's the SSK we just did. We're going to pass it over and off that knit 3 together. So what it's done now is it's taken 5 stitches and worked them down into 1, which is the top of our circle. That is called a work 5 together. So now we'll do yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit front back again. I will show you English style on the next repeat. Knit 5, yarn over SSK twice, and knit 3. And that should take us to the end of our marker, which it does. Hooray. Okay, move the marker. Now I'll show you that whole sequence English style. So again, we're going to start with, at our asterisks, with a knit 2, knit front back. So we're going to knit into the front of the stitch. Do not remove it from the left needle. Pivot your needle tip around to go into the back of that same stitch. And then you'll pull it off, having created now 2 stitches in that one stitch. That was a knit front back. Now we'll do a yarn over and an SSK. And a yarn over, and now the work 5 together. Remember, don't lose track of your yarn over here, but we're going to start our work 5 together with an SSK. So the work 5 together may be unfamiliar to you, but all the pieces of it are familiar. So SSK, now we're going to knit 3 together off of our left needle, being sure to grab all of the 3 stitches. And then we're going to pass that SSK up and over and off over the knit 3 together. Closes off the top of that circle very nicely. And now yarn over and a knit 2 together, and another yarn over and a knit front back, knit 5, and 5, yarn over SSK twice, yarn over SSK, One more, yarn over, SSK, and knit 3. And if you've done it right, you should now be at your next marker, where you repeat that again all the way across the row. Let me just move that marker and knit 2 just so I don't lose my marker. All right, so row 13 has that work 5 together stitch in it. Then of course row 14 you're just going to purl back. Row 15 also has the work 5 together stitch in it. I'll show you why. So if we look at the motif down below that I did on the first set of repeats, here's our first work 5 together to close off this inner ring here at the top. And then our second, this is row 13. And row 15 is this work 5 together that closes off that outer ring at the top. So here is the first one, and there's the second one. Looks really pretty. So you're going to finish that all the way across. So you'll do rows 1 through 16 3 times total, and then row 1 and 2 more once more, just for a total of 50 rows. Then you're going to do your normal top border at the top of knitting 8 rows to make that garter separation, like right here, before we come back next month and do the next section. As always, if you have any questions or problems, please let me know. And something fairly new now is Project Help Desk, which is on Wednesday afternoons and Saturday afternoons from 1 to 2:30. Being part of a class that you're enrolled in right now, you can come to Project Help Desk anytime with no cost, just so you can get help on the project you're working on. And I look forward to seeing your projects. Bye-bye.